Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Madam Secretary, for being here. Appreciate your work here. Madam Secretary, Congress over the past 6 months has appropriated $46 billion in rental assistance. And I believe it was last month, Republicans on the Financial Services Committee wrote to the Treasury requesting an accounting of all emergency rental assistance funds that had been distributed. And the Treasury Department has not provided those figures to us. Now, I understand you're not with Treasury. However, this money was appropriated to ultimately end up in your department and to go for something that you have jurisdiction over, and that is rental assistance. Can you provide us with an update regarding how much of the $46 billion has already been provided to renters to settle back rent debts and protect renters from facing eviction?
I can get that information from you from Treasury. I'd be happy to.
Thank you, because obviously Treasury is ignoring us, but
I'd be happy to get whatever they have.
Thank you very much for that. On the other side of the issue with the evictions, and none of us want to see renters evicted because of what has happened. However, we have to be cognitive of the fact that there is another side of that, and that includes the landlords and the property owners. The CDC eviction moratorium expires a week from today. How many of these landlords, and many of these landlords, I should say, are small business owners, and they depend on this income on their rental properties? What's HUD doing to ensure that debts are paid to property owners and how fraud can be prevented?
Well, we are providing all the assistance, not just to Treasury to assist them, but our staffs are in place. We're having weekly meetings with landlords. We have website information that any of them can access. We have our staff available to answer any questions, and we are speaking directly with local and state governments as to how they can get the resources out faster, because the majority of the money has actually been allocated. It's just that these communities, especially smaller and rural ones, are not getting them out fast enough. Now, some major cities do, but part of the problem is just was the capacity to get it out. Some of these communities just don't have the people to make sure it happens properly. So that's where we're stepping in at HUD and trying to provide that kind of assistance.
And I appreciate that, and I'm not going to dispute what you said, because I think you're right. We've gotten calls in our office from so many people who are landlords and wondering when they're going to get the rent and when it's going to happen. And there have been bottlenecks in the process. There's been bottlenecks at the state level as well. We need to understand that. And at the local levels.
Most of it is state, quite frankly.
Thank you. And that's what we've experienced in Georgia, so I will tell you that. But nevertheless, thank you for intervening in that and making sure that happens. That's very important. I want to switch gears now and talk about homelessness and specifically the Housing First, which gives homeless housing, and that's something I think we all agree with that needs to happen. But when we look at the root cause of homelessness, we understand a lot of it has to do with addiction, a lot of it has to do with mental illnesses, and we all want to shift the nation's homelessness policy toward better outcomes. I think we all agree on that. Unfortunately, it appears that in certain areas we're not making the progress that we hope to make, especially when you look at a lot of our major cities. Perhaps there's a need to change the approach. Perhaps there's a need to change our approach to the issue. Would you support a treatment-first policy which provides housing but also requires participation in drug treatment, mental health, and employment programs?
Well, I don't know that I would support requiring it, because I think that this Congress has also, even when I was a member, did not believe that we should force people to do things.
Even treatment, not even getting mental health or addiction treatment?
I don't know that we can legally do that. That's the first thing. Secondly, I think that yes, we need to find ways to change our approach in some ways. I think we do need to address the root issues. I don't disagree with that at all. But I don't know that mandating that someone get treatment, first off, is constitutional.
So if there is someone living in a HUD building, a HUD provided home, and we know that they have an addiction problem, we know that they have a mental health problem, we don't have any recourse whatsoever?
I do not believe so, sir. I mean, this is still a country, we talked about it earlier. We follow the law and we follow the Constitution, and I don't believe that either of those give us that authority.
Well, would you be in favor of a treatment first program, though? Obviously, I don't want us spinning our wheels. I want to help these people. And you know, as a healthcare professional, as a pharmacist, I can tell you addiction is a big problem, and it's one of the biggest problems we have with homelessness. So I hope
I certainly support it. I certainly support treatment. Oh, absolutely.
I understand, but somehow we got to make this happen. I don't want the heavy hand of government intervening either. However, I hope that we can work towards some kind of solution to help these people get the help that they need.
I'm certainly happy to talk to you about it. I'd love for it to happen as well.
Okay.
Gentleman's time has expired. Now
Thank you.
recognize the gentlewoman.